starting off the miniature by taking Two Thin Coat's Gunmetal, which is a black metal color, and combining it with Vallejo Metallic Colors Dark Aluminium, and that is the airbrush version. I really like the airbrush version of Dark Aluminium, although you could use any silver color really, but this applies extremely well. Now I'm combining it with that Gunmetal because we want a darker tone, and as you can see back here, when I painted just the Gunmetal, it didn't really have the impact that I wanted. So by combining the two, we get a dark, vivid, metallic color. If you just add black paint to the aluminium, you'll kill some of that shine, but you could give it a try if you don't want to buy that Gunmetal. And that coat is complete, and I added some color to the base just so we can see what we're doing a little bit better. Make sure that metal is dry, and then we'll start to shade it with some Basilicanum Gray by Warhammer Color, and this is a contrast paint. This will darken it up even further, which is what we want for this kind of dark gunmetal look, and I definitely think that Basilicanum Gray is one of the best ways to shade metallic colors, so definitely pick it up and give it a try. When shading with contrast, try to avoid pooling. If you see it pooling up, you can absorb it with your brush or just paint it into other areas of the mini. That's all dry, and you can really see how it darkened it up. But back here where my brush is pointing, you can see that I didn't see some pools and they dried awkwardly. You can see it left kind of a coffee stain there. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna take our original mixture and just kind of patch it up. And while we're there, we may as well just kind of rebuild and highlight some of that gunmetal. You don't have to highlight a whole lot with this, but you do want to pick out some of those edges so that way you can clearly define them. The more you highlight, the brighter it will become, as obvious as that is. And we do want a darker metal, so we don't want to highlight a whole lot. So really think tactically where you are placing your highlights. You just want to define the curves and edges and really draw the eyes to certain key areas. Metallic colors do a lot of the work of kind of highlighting themselves because of the way they interact with light. And the more highlighting you do, the more work you're doing. So let the paint do what it does and keep your effort here to a relative minimum, and it's going to work out really well. I mean, just look at this. It wasn't a whole lot of work and it looks great. We'll paint the metallic on the rifle with the dark aluminium, just the dark aluminium, no mixture. You'll notice the blue on the shoulder pads. You can ignore that. We'll show you how to paint them later on. I'm then going to move on to shade that metallic, and I'm going to use some Agrax Earthshade by Warhammer Color. I am using a brown wash instead of something like that Basilicanum Gray because I don't want it to be the same tone as the armor. We will continue on with that rifle by taking Warhammer Color's Skaven Blight Dinge, and we will begin to highlight that black. This process can be made even easier by utilizing the side of your brush rather than the tip to grab onto the edges of some of those harder sides. Now, you can't use that method to highlight everything, but in terms of miniatures, you can use it a lot, so definitely get some practice doing that. For this first highlight, I'm capturing the edges, but I'm also doing a little bit of filling in with that black so it's not just a base black. We will follow that up with another highlight, this time of Mechanicus Standard Gray by Warhammer Color. And with this zoom in, you can really see how I'm using that side of the brush to highlight. We'll focus this highlight mostly on the top. You don't have to do a whole lot, as always, especially with a troop like this. We'll start off the blue with Marine Blue by Two Thin Coats. And if you want to do your Marine in the StarCraft 2 style, feel free to paint this over all of it rather than using that gunmetal steps in the beginning of the video. Once that base coat is dry, we will start to brighten it up by introducing some Elysian Blue, also by Two Thin Coats, into our Marine Blue. And we're going to do so at about a 60-40 ratio in favor of that Marine Blue. When you're brightening it up, you want to make sure you're leaving some crevices dark with that pure marine blue, so that way we can start building up our contrast. And when you have flatter surfaces like this, you can start to add some stippling to make some texture and make it a little bit more of an interesting blend to a brighter color. Next, we'll take pure Elysian blue and we will begin to edge highlight with that. This color is bright and it presents a pretty stark contrast with what we just did. Even though we had mixed Elysian blue in with our previous color, it's still a lot. So just take your time and edge highlight carefully. Try to make as thin lines as you can, but I know it's not easy and it's not for everyone, so just, do what you can. And if you feel like you went a little too hard on that brightness, you can glaze in some marine blue. Make sure it's thin and try to make those brush strokes go down towards your shadowed areas. We will then move on to that visor, and for that I'm going to base coat with Gizmo Fur. I'm starting with this off yellow sort of color because orange is notoriously difficult to get onto a black base coat. Following that, we'll take Rust Orange, also by 2 thin coats, and we will apply a base coat of that. Once it's dry, I'll make sure to do a second coat just so I can really get that color punched in there. We will then continue to brighten it up by taking AK 3rd Gen's Deep Orange and highlighting it. Just make sure you leave some of that Rust Orange towards the bottom so you can get a color gradient. Now, if you would like to utilize the clear plastic, feel free. It's just not for me. I just prefer my elements to all look like they fit in with each other. And I personally just think that that clear plastic takes away from the cohesiveness. We will then continue to brighten up the visor, and we're going to take Solar Flare by 2 thin coats, and we're going to start to stipple it on towards where our light source would be reflecting. And stippling could seem hard to some people, but it's actually really quite easy. The secret is to not make a stabbing motion, it's just to kind of start to dab onto it. Be very light with the amount of pressure that you're pushing your brush into the mini. We'll also highlight the top part of the visor, not just that focal point. And if you feel like that solar flare is too strong and the contrast is just too much, you can take some of that deep orange, mix it in a little bit, and just stipple that onto the edges. And then to finish off the visor, you'll just add some pure white into your solar flare and do a very small amount of stippling, and just this much is good. And if you want, you can add a secondary highlight on the other edge of the visor. And this is what the visor looks like when you're completed painting it. And once all that's said and done, once you've finished your model completely, I definitely encourage you to add a gloss coat of varnish just on the visor. This will give it a shiny look rather than a painted look. Moving on to that holster, I'm going to base coat it in Thornwood Green by P3 Paints. Once that's dry, we'll take Parasite Brown by Vallejo Game, and we'll highlight over a majority of the holster. And make sure you do a secondary coat of that just so you make sure that that color is really punched in, because you want that contrast between it and the darker color. Following that, you can add some AK 3rd Gen's Warm Gray into your Parasite Brown, and you'll highlight with that. The Marine has some glowy bits, and for that we'll take some watered down white paint and just kind of fill in those glowy spots. Once that's dry, and do make sure it is dry, we can take some Tasselar Blue contrast, mix in some fluorescent blue, and just kind of apply it the same way we did the white. And there, the Marine is all complete, and I am quite happy with that gunmetal look. Now the blue, I'll be honest, I'm a little less happy with. I think it looks fine, but I just don't really think it belongs. Now the next video I am doing is a Marvel Crisis Protocol video about Rescue, who's done in the Blue True Metallic Metal range by Vallejo. And it's pretty cool, and I think it would work pretty great for this Marine, so if you're interested, definitely check it out. But if you're only interested in StarCraft, there's going to be more of that to come. There's also a lot of other content coming, so please make sure you subscribe to the channel. If you like this video, comment, like, all of that is really helpful. And I will catch you in the next one.